Hi, I'm Terry Murphy from the Women's Wisdom Network and the senior editor for Realty Times, Women in Business, Women in Real Estate in the Men's Room with Murph. Today we have a fabulous woman, both in real estate and in business. Her name is Brianne Ika. I've known Brianne for a whole number of years, and I've watched her transform into this incredible leader, businesswoman, mom, very successful mom of only four children, give or take. Uh, and she's the daughter of a good friend of mine, Verl Workman. She's the co-founder and president of Workman Success. Done an incredible job, Brianne, putting together the systems behind the systems. Does that make sense?
Yeah, thanks, Terry.
Well, no, it's if you saw this woman on Agile, if you don't know what that means, call me. I'll tell you. But it's the most amazing systems for organization. And I've been with her both on a personal and professional basis to see that. And recently, Brianne, you wrote an article that was just pivoting for a group called Women We Admire. Tell me about how that came about, because article is on leadership and it's so right on that I think it's going to help a lot of people listening and watching this.
In the business that I'm in and being the co-founder, I knew nothing when I first started. And so I've had to learn and grow in this position of leadership, not ever having been here before. And so I'm always on this journey of learning everything I can about being a better leader and supporting my team in everything that they do better. And so when I was asked by the Women We Admire to submit an article, I thought, what better than my steps and what I've done in my journey in becoming a better leader for my team.
Well, it's so interesting because I've watched how you've grown, and I have to admire Verl for pushing you because he basically shoved you into the business. But you opened the article and you talked about a decision on something simple, a restaurant.
Yeah,
And can you just give us a little positioning relevance around that little story?
sure. Terry, I don't know what you mean by positioning relevance.
You said basically it helps us with the relevance for the article because you talk about it was a training event, and I know it goes into that, and,
Yeah.
and all of the complications that came with that and how you handle them. Uh, you create the systems that help when we repeat or have to redo something, and what the workman mantra on that is anything we do more than once we duplicate.
Yeah, anything we do more than three times, we create a system or process around it so that anyone can step in and do it. And with our coach training events, we bring all of our coaches from across the country into Salt Lake City, and it is an experience. These coaches, we wouldn't be able to run Workman Success without our amazing coaches. And so when they come into Salt Lake, we want it to be an incredible experience for them, from the venue and the event and the swag to the food. And Verl is a serious food pusher. He loves food and he wants every bite to be this experience. And so for this article, one of the things that we were talking about was we kind of let the team handle this event and kind of run this specific piece of it. They've done it enough times. We've been running this event twice a year for 10 years, and we thought, okay, let's see how they do. And they gave us a option for a restaurant, and I'd asked the question, have you tried it yet? Have you been there and tried the food? And they said, well, no, that's a great idea. So I went with them, we tried the food, and the entire experience from our first arrival to paying the check was so disappointing.
Okay, good word. Yeah.
Because it was supposed to be this great thing. They were ready for us. The owner knew what was happening. He knew we were coming to try the food, to test them for this event that we were having. And when we got there, I don't think that either the staff didn't know what was going on or the kitchen didn't know, but the entire experience was just awful. And had the team not known, hey, you should probably taste the food and try the experience before we let everyone else do it, it could have been a disaster. I mean, what food is really a disaster? It could have been not a great experience for those coaches.
Well, knowing the caliber of the events that you hold, yes, that would have been a disaster because there were new coaches and there's other coaches and whatever. But the article really, what it did was it showed us how you empowered your team, and B, how it was a learning experience before it was impacting your business. And you talk about, well, you give us about 6 points in the article, but the one that I thought you started with was a strong foundation. And I would say that that is communication. And you do that with huddles. We talk about that in the coaching experience. Tell us about what you wanted to say about being transparent with setting the stage.
I think that when your team understands what you're working towards, it's a lot easier for them to follow that. And so if I would have just told them, hey, you guys need to go pick a dinner for our coaches, good luck. They could have picked anywhere. They could have picked Chili's and they would have thought that they'd won the day because they found a restaurant. But for them to understand this is the experience that we want them to have, this is what we're looking for, and here's my criteria. Now go. When they bring information back to me, then we can say, okay, here's what we do. With this particular instance, I knew that the service was going to be bad. I knew that the food wasn't going to be great, but I couldn't tell them that because they hadn't experienced it. And so for them to come to me with all of this work that they had done and said, look, we found one, it meets all your criteria. And to ask the question, did you actually try it? I could have said, that's terrible, we're not doing that. They would have felt defeated. They would have felt like, well, how do you know? What's your experience with this?
Well,
they have to experience that.
But what you did was, though, you empowered them to learn and have the experience so that they had contrast, which is part of leadership. And you talk about explaining the change and why that is the why behind change. And, you know, you're a young mom, you've got great experience. Change isn't so easy down the line. Tell us a little bit about why you thought that explaining the change and the rationale behind what you ask as a leader works.
I think that when you have new information that changes what the goal is or what the process is, or even truly what you want to see at the end, when you get that new information, sometimes we forget to articulate it. We just say, no, we're not doing that anymore. I want to switch to this thing. The team goes, but we've done all of this work. We've done all of these things. Well, sometimes I need all of those things to say, yeah, those things aren't going to work anymore because I've received this new information. Here's why my path has changed. Here's why my goal has changed, or whatever that is, because it's important for them to understand how those things impact my new decision. Not just, yeah, those aren't going to work. This is what I want to do now. It's, I appreciate the work you've done on these. And because I have this information, I'm now able to decide this is really what I was looking for.
That's just so brilliant because it really feeds into number 4 on your article, which I love: provide clear next steps and adjusted goals. You know, that's the one thing. I don't know how old you are listening to this, y'all, but when you have a goal, it's perfect, it's great, and it's solid, and you have focus and vision. But it sometimes, because of how things change, especially in the real estate industry, in the mortgage industry, in any industry, you've got to adjust the goal. Tell us why that's so powerful and why you chose that point for this terrific article.
Yeah, I think that by understanding, or by helping the team understand that, hey, we changed this. I'm not moving your goal, but sometimes the deadline has to change. Sometimes with an event, my timeline never changes. The event is happening on the date the event is happening. And so what do we have to adjust? Or what do we maybe have to move or get rid of or not do in order to accomplish this new thing or this new initiative that I put you onto? When they have a sense of stability around that and they understand, okay, here's my next steps. This is what we've decided. This is what we're not doing or what we're changing. And here's what has to happen next. When they have that really, really clear timeline, it makes it so much easier for them to follow through. If I just say, yeah, we're not doing that, figure something else out, what does that mean? They need more guidance. They need more help.
That's what makes you such a powerful leader, because you and I both know that communication is everything. Under communication does not work. And that's very often in generations that are younger, because they get it done, they're done. When we over communicate in a way that how people using the channels that they prefer, then people feel confident. And you talk about that. You say reinforce confidence. That's point number 6 for the new direction. You literally give them the tools they need to rock whatever they're doing. And that has to create a lot of confidence going forward.
Yeah. Well, I think with providing clear next steps and reinforcing that confidence, they don't need me to get down into the really deep details of what's going on. They need to understand it from a high level what I expect, what the goals are, and how we're changing them, and give them the next step. Sometimes when stuff when goals or processes change too much, it's all of these things and they don't know what to do first. And so if you give them that first step, hey, we need to change marketing on this thing. Hey, we need to make sure we do one, two, or three, then I know that as good as my team is, they are going to come up with something way better than I could have ever come up with to begin with. So I don't want to get into the details of, did you do this? Did you send this email? Did you write these words? You guys handle the plan because that's your job. That's what you're really, really good at. I just want to know that you understand my goal, have clear understanding of the next steps, and that now you have this confidence in the new direction because I trust that you guys are going to do the right thing.
And I love the way you just said that. That was a beautiful summation because in the article you say leading through change is a necessary part of leadership, but it doesn't have to feel like moving the goalposts by explaining the rationale, which we talked about, acknowledging the work, who does what, so so there's clear, and providing clear next steps. You help the team thrive. And Workman has grown exponentially because of the teams. And I really want to admire so you asked the question, how do you handle challenges within your team? And you say you invite people to help you share those experiences. One of the things we've learned, especially from working with all the amazing coaches and leadership that we've worked with, is that all of us is smarter than one of us. And there's a perspective that you have that I will never have, and vice versa. So let's put it all together. So if somebody wanted you to speak, because this was done by thewomenweadmire.com. So, but if somebody wanted you to speak or to share or consult, where would be the best place to reach you?
Just at my email, Brianne@workmansuccess.com.
That's really amazing. I'm hoping you're going to join us because following your career has been not only exciting, but inspiring. And I think a lot of young women who are moms, handling what you do with and working with the teams that you do shows the adaptability, the flexibility, and clearly the wisdom that you have at such a young age. So I would encourage everybody to find Brianne Ika, that's Ika, at Workman Success. Thanks for joining us. I hope you'll join us for another segment of Women in Business.
Thanks, Terry.